Oh, is anybody familiar with it at all? Family member or know what it is? Anybody? You do? What was your experience?
Well, my grandfather was a Freemason, but I never knew exactly what it
Okay,
meant.
so this will help you today.
Yeah.
This will clarify it. Good. So you had a family member in it. Anybody else have any experience or know what it is? Khalif?
I'm not too experienced with it, but I do remember my great-grandparents having been sort of involved in that, in Eastern Star.
Yeah, Eastern Star.
And
Okay.
then when my aunt got saved, my aunt, their daughter, she began to expose it to them and tell them, call out this Freemason
Okay,
stuff.
all right. Do you remember why it was, off or wrong or
Just secret societies and stuff like that.
just in general? Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
you know.
What I'm looking for is to see if you're kind of like I was. Okay, yeah, it's kind of this weird thing. I had a great-grandfather in it, and he was a Shriner. I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, cool, I guess. Just a group for older white men, I guess. At that time, that's all that I knew. But obviously, it's black, white, all races. It's worldwide. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I just want to know generally what your thoughts are to know where we start. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
do believe that it has satanic, like, indirectly, like, into something.
Okay, yeah, it does. And we'll...
Pentagrams and stuff like that coming out of that thing. Or,
Sure, okay. We'll explain some of that in a minute. Yep.
It's really high in like symbolism, secret society, special knowledge, and it takes a lot of little things of the gospel and kind of twists them and turns them into something else.
Okay, all right. All right, so that's extent that, do you have any experience with it, with somebody in your family?
Me personally, no, but a lot of people in the military, easy to get promotions, and somebody's in the Masons and you get promoted and the other guys don't.
Okay, so that's your experience knowing that, hey, if you're in this group, you're part of the brotherhood type thing? Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody recognize this symbol but didn't know what it was? You see it on people's car, I guess, sometimes. Anybody? No?
I reckon.
Have you ever seen this, Isaac? You never even seen this symbol? You'll see it now. You'll see it now. You'll start to see it. You'll see it on some people's. They have a ring with this G on there. Okay, that's a compass, and the G. And I'll try to explain why it's a G. No one knows exactly why, but we can. We'll come up with it in a minute. Okay. Anybody else? All right. My first early experience was brand new convert. Mackenzie had eczema pretty bad on her arm. I remember this. Evangelist came. He says, "Hey, are there anybody in your family members in secret societies?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know what you're exactly talking about." So he goes, "Oh, what about Freemasons?" My wife recognized, yeah, you know what, my grandfather or great-grandfather, then mine, I remember. And he says, all right, we're gonna break break the curse of secret society, and she should be healed. Sure enough, her eczema started to clear up, got healed. Pretty cool. So I thought, wow, there's something to secret societies. There's something to this, and it needs to be broken. I think we went home, and there was a Freemason symbol on a Bible, which is an oxymoron, and we got rid of that Freemason Bible or whatever it was, and never really looked back. So my family was in it, and just wanted to know if you guys had any dealings with it. So I would ask, I guess my question that you may ask is, why would we study Freemason within false doctrines? One, to break family curses, some things you might recognize. We had a young man in church, was involved with it, recognized that it was wrong, didn't know why he was dealing with certain things, and so we renounced it. Okay? So you have to pray and renounce secret societies. It's the only way to break those curses. I no longer am involved with it and renounce it. Also, we would study Freemasonry to be educated on the subject so that you know. And you know how to help people. You're going to run into maybe friends or family members, oh, it's no big deal. You can be a Christian and be in it. I beg to differ. I'll show you why today. It is very spiritual, and as Joseph mentioned, maybe even Khalif mentioned, it does have satanic roots, Antichrist roots, and contrary to anybody's belief that will tell you, it is a religion. I think the guy's name, let me jump down here. I've got so many notes, and I'm kind of, anyway, what was the guy's name? Albert Pike. You'll hear that name perhaps. He kind of was, it was a Mason for 30 some years. He kind of wrote the book on dogma of, it was called Morals in Dogma book. And he says that Freemasonry is a religion. And he's kind of like the expert on that. Doesn't matter if you remember that name or not, just kind of file that away. Okay, so the question would be for who's never heard of it? Isaac, you've never heard of it? Anybody never heard of Freemasonry? Have you? Yeah, have you? Anybody never heard of it? Okay, so this statement would be for somebody that has just never heard of it at all. Freemasonry, it's a massive organization. It has rigid, organized rules and structures, and it has degrees by which you move up in levels. And we're going to look at the different branches. One branch is 13 degrees, and another branch is 32 degrees. And then there's a 33rd degree, which is an honorary degree. And that is given out especially. So you move up in degrees, and they teach, they have a philosophical system, and that'll become very evident today. It is a secret society, as Khalif did mention. It's a secret society of mainly, but not exclusively, elected officials, leaders in business, attorneys, educators, judges, law enforcement officers. Originally, you're going to find out why it's high society, and but nowadays it tends to try to be high society. It is rooted in secrecy. So because anything that is secret, that's a breeding ground for conspiracy theories. Okay, so anything that doesn't, that goes true with anything in life. Anything that is secret, people invent things because they want to figure it out. So they could, a lot of the conspiracy theories is that Freemasons have to deal with the one world order, and we'll see why in a minute. Controlling economies, these high up people, presidents, and all kinds of things. We'll look at that today. How many have ever heard that the United States was built on Freemasonry? You've heard that? We're going to debunk that today. How many have heard that all of the presidents and the founding fathers that signed Declaration of Independence were Freemasons? We will debunk that today as well. Not because I'm biased or hopefully you kind of have influencers that they lose credibility because they have a bias, right? And so you could say, well, okay, you're a Christian church, and of course you're going to be biased to say that the founding fathers were not. But I'm going to show you a bit of that today. If our founding fathers were Masons, true Masons today, then the United States was not built on Christianity at all. It can't be. It's impossible. So it's either one or the other. And either we're a blessed nation because God is our God or not. So we'll look at that a little bit today. Okay? I don't know if I'm doing this subconsciously, but they have a lot of secret handshakes. I think there's like 8 different handshakes. You learn a different handshake as you move up in degrees. So if I were to shake your hand and do this, right, then I just told him that I'm a Mason at a certain degree. And I come in again, we do it a different way, right? And I have this one finger out like this. That tells me that I'm at a higher degree and you need to back down or whatever. So the handshake tells you what degree you are and if you are a Mason by how you shake hands. Okay, so let's just give you kind of like the flavor of these guys. They wear aprons, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, so, okay. Mormons, okay. Okay, so Joseph Smith was a Freemason. But we're going to tell you why it's Freemason in a second. I just want to kind of give you the flavor and the history here. But he was a Freemason. In order to get married in the temple, you got to go through all kinds of rituals. You're going to see the rituals today. Well, Mormons are like, wow, that's just freaky, similar to what we do in the Mormon temple. Only those that are the highest degree can go into the temple, have your wedding there, and then there's all kinds of rituals that match this. So Mormonism and Freemasonry go hand in hand. Kind of scary, okay? I don't know if they'll admit that or not. Mormons don't reveal everything at all. And also Freemasons do not. So you don't get all the information in the beginning. In fact, a lot of people go into the Freemasons and join the club and their initiation. That should give you a clue. When you find out the initiation day, you'll be blown away. But they go in kind of innocently. Hey, just a club, guys, connections, But as you move up, they reveal a little bit more and more. And then by the 13th degree, we'll look at the code word that they give you. Then by a few more up degrees, they give you another code word. You'll be quite shocked at the code word. Okay, so outwardly, this is kind of like their uniform in the temple. Let's talk about Shriners real quick, because my great grandfather was a Shriner. In order to be a Shriner, you have to be to the third degree. Blue. Okay. This will make sense a little bit more when I explain the history. But you got Blue Lodge, you got Scottish Rite, and you got York Rite. These are branches of it, right? And the Blue Lodge is just kind of just general, and then there's 3 levels of it. The levels, I'll tell you in just a second what they're called. Entered Apprentice is the first level, Fellow Craft second level, Master Mason is the third level. Those are levels, and you have to be a Master Mason in order to be a Shriner. Now, Shriners, if you've ever been to a parade and you saw them driving the little mini cars and they have these hats on here, they're called Tazes or something like that, and they represent, I believe, decapitating people, and you hold them by the hair. Anyway, it has a lot of Muslim roots, Arabic roots. This is why you get kind of that flavor. So Shriners, they have hospitals. I think there's a burn center hospital, Shriner for the kids, Shriner Circus. It just appears that they just wear these kind of goofy clothes, and they're just kind of part of a club. Well, it's I call it an add-on to Freemasons. It's called the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine.
Wow.
That's what a Shriner is. Wow, you're right. I mean, and so it's international. That's what they used to be called. So they're called Shriners. That's kind of that. So let's do this. Mason's God, it's called Gautu, G-A-O-U-T-U. It's an acronym. Great Architect of the Universe. So more than likely the G means Great Architect. Okay? When we go through the history, I'll explain what architect means. That's why there's the compass and on their symbol. Okay? So let's do this. Let's start. Okay, oh yeah, just to get you another flavor. This is the inside of one of the lodges. That obviously that's the outside. They're very elaborate, and they're mainly stone, because that's where their origin comes from that. This is the altar. There's these 3 lights. This is where you kneel to do your initiation. I'll explain that in a second. This is the inside. All of them. If you ever see this checkered floor, that's immediate sign that that's a That's a Mason lodge. And it's very elaborate, very mystic. That's kind of that flavor. So let's explain the origin. Okay, let's go back to Reformation time, 15, 16, 1700s. Okay, at this time, all kinds of cathedrals and massive churches, these huge stone buildings were being built. They had to hire very skilled, high-skilled laborers to work with stone and to work with brick and stone and mortar to build these buildings. So, since they were very high-skilled, they were called up by, let's see, the cathedrals, abbeys, you got high-ranking officials, religious officials, high-ranking government officials, high society people calling them to build these beautiful, elaborate buildings. This is right around the time of the Reformation, okay? And what they said is, we're going to have kind of like a club together, and it's going to be just us, Masons, okay? Start with just Masons, all right? And we have our connections, and we're a group, kind of like a union, a self-appointed kind of union, right? The Masons wanted better jobs, and they went different places. So they traveled, and they left kind of that little group. They were with their Masons. Everything's innocent so far. Oh, by the way, hey, we're Masons. We're called by God to build these churches. We're called to have a higher standard. You know, we're building the houses of God. So you need to believe in God. So far, so good, right? No problem with that so far, right? As they left those local lodges, they traveled, and they were free from that lodge. And as they're traveling from town to town, they were now labeled Freemasons. Think freelancer, right? That's a code word for no job, but. But in this case, they were true freelancers. They were Freemasons. That's why they're called Freemasons. Now, moving forward, okay, their numbers kind of stagnated because there's only so many Freemasons, right? And they said, well, you know what? Let's open up to other trades. Let's open up to noble people and all kinds of things. And so then it changed from free and accepted Mason. So if you're going to see Freemasons, or you're going to see free and accepted Masons. That means you came in, you weren't necessarily a bricklayer, you didn't necessarily work with stone, but you were high society. And then they're thinking, wow, this thing's gaining traction. Let's allow nobles and high-ranking people in, right? And this is all happening in Europe, by the way, okay? This is all happening in Europe, right? In England, in Peter's backyard, right? This is all in his backyard, Reformation area, all in England at that time, about 1700. They were professionals. Oh, the other thing about a Freemason and why they were kind of like thought they were higher society, they knew geometry very well. Obviously, I mean, they're working with massive structures. They knew geometry. They were very, very well educated. It was like a duty. Okay, when they started accepting them, the aristocrats and the royal families, they're coming in. And in 1717, 4 of these kind of groups that came together. 4 of these groups came together, and they created what's called a Grand Lodge. And they appointed one man over it, and he's called the Grand Master. Okay? So now, all of a sudden, we've got a structure, we've got authority, we've got hierarchy already happening alone. So now they have these new beliefs. So when they all came together, and the Grand Master, he says, they start writing down their beliefs and their doctrines. Their belief was that Adam, Garden of Eden, Adam, was the first great architect, and that he passed on to further generations certain people that were enlightened with the ability to be an architect. namely Noah, right? That was a massive project. How could Noah possibly build an ark if he wasn't divinely inspired by the light of the great architect God? And the architect gave it to Adam, and then Noah. Then the next one would be Solomon's temple. And then another one was Nehemiah building the wall, all these architects. And so basically there was this secret knowledge, the secret light of the knowledge of the great architect on how to build the world, how to build a life, how to build everything is passed on to certain men, right? And that we have to discover this light that keeps flashing. We have to discover the light and come to the light so that you can be enlightened, right? So then we start mixing into the Illuminati, right? And this great light, and that there's a certain thing that you have to tap into. See how this thing is morphing into something very, very crazy and creepy, and it definitely does that. Okay, so I liken Freemasonry similar to the church where the denominations split. Okay, so you have Blue Lodge, you have York Rite, Scottish Rite, and now you have the United States version. Of course, the United States does everything their own way, right? No matter what, whether it was a church, whether it was a Bible, whatever, America does it their own way, and we always take it way further than it probably should have gone. And so you basically have those. There's two more branches that are very, you don't even need to worry about them. You'll hear about York Rite and Scottish Rite, and then the degrees. Now, okay, remember York Rite's 13 degrees, Scottish Rite is 32 with the 33 as an honorary degree. Now we start to get into the rituals on how to join. This is a very accurate description. There are very few photos. You won't find any photos. You will see this one immediately if you Google search the ritual. This is about the only one. There's been a few movies that have shown it kind of like this, but this is actually a good depiction of what happens when you get initiated into the club. So let's say you wanted to join. You go into a room and they blindfold you. You have to roll up your left pant leg. Your right shoe comes off and they put a slipper on it. Your right sleeve goes up. Your left breast is open and you have a noose around your neck and a blindfold. Okay, so you're in this room, okay, and the guide, I forgot his name. I'm sorry, I gotta think of the name here. Blindfolded. Oh, it's called the doorkeeper. The doorkeeper leads you blindfolded through the lodge. Okay, he walks you around, and you're in darkness. Okay, then you come to that altar that I showed you, and then you kneel down, and then they take a sword or a big knife, and they poke the left breast to where blood starts coming down. So it's kind of like a blood type agreement. And then you have to repeat things. And so basically what you're saying is, the initiate says this at first. He goes, I am lost in darkness and I am seeking the light of Freemasonry. Okay? So from right here, from this moment, from this first phrase, this is not Christian. It can't be. You're seeking light from Freemasonry. You're seeking light from this. So immediately you distinguish yourself that this isn't Christian. Another thing that Freemasons will not hide from you is that to join their club, you cannot be atheist, but you can choose any God you want. It could be Buddha, could be Allah, could be God, could be Jesus. Doesn't matter as long as you have a God. Remember, they don't reveal everything at first. They just want you in. Yeah, you believe in a God. But we know that it's the God of Freemasonry that we're searching. Yes?
Most people just go in to get drunk and get away from their wife.
Yes, very good observation. Because to do this, you'd have to have a really bad marriage. Whoa. No, I get it. I know. It has to be something to do this. There's got to be something. You're like, you too, man? Yeah, it's that bad. Right? I don't know. To put a noose around your neck and to be like this. What the point being is, people are going into this because of mystery, because it's kind of maybe like a little bit innocent in a certain sense. But me, dude, even before I went to church, I'd be horrified. I'd be like, I ain't messing with none of this. I'd be running out of there as fast as I could. Yes.
So I hate to even admit all this, but I was in a sorority in college, and this is so similar.
Yeah.
So we just thought we're joining with this house with a bunch of girls, but you do a ceremony like this.
Yeah.
And one of the ceremonies for another sorority house is like being born again. You get put in a coffin and you're born again this sorority.
Yeah.
And they do all these secret handshakes. It's horrible. But you don't even think about it. You're 19, 18. You just want friends, and everyone's doing it. And it's exactly
Peer pressure, just kind of innocently moving in. And wouldn't that be Satan's strategy? Just bull you into something that's curious. Oh, Ouija board, let's just have fun. Then it turns into seances, and then it turns into tapping, and then it draws you in, right? Yes?
I think some people might be drawn in because of the potential connections and privileges.
Of course, for sure. Imagine if the judge is a Freemason and you're wanted for embezzlement. Like, can I shake your hand, sir? I don't know how they show it, but it's well known in the community. Mike?
I almost became a Freemason because of the Army. It's really big in the Army. My injuries were preventing me from getting promoted, and my first sergeant had another close friend of mine come in with him and said, hey, if you sponsor him to get into the Masons, we can get him promoted.
Okay, very good. So, yeah, kind of like the pressure. So, if I want to advance, I could maybe overlook some of this weird stuff, just be part of the club. But now it gets a little crazier. Okay, it gets a little crazier because each level has to say this vow. Now, these are different levels. Remember, it's kind of secret. There's so many opinions of whatever. Okay, watch this. The first one. Binding myself under no less a penalty than having my throat cut across, my tongue torn out by its roots, and buried in the rough sands of the sea. If I reveal any of this. Okay, it's a vow. Next one. Binding myself under no less penalty that having my left breast torn open, my heart plucked out and given as prey to the wild beasts of the fields and the fowls of the air. They are still saying these vows to become a Freemason. Binding myself under no less a penalty than having my body severed in twain, my bowels taken from thence and burned in ashes. And I'm just trying to get people to get rid of their TV. I'm just trying to get people to have to be faithful in church, all right? And they're willingly, saying that you rip my tongue out by its roots if I reveal any of these secrets. And obviously, there's a lot more that goes on in that ceremony. At the altar is the worshipful master, and all of a sudden you take off the blindfold, and you see the light, and there's people that are watching the ceremony, and you are now initiated. Okay. Their goal, okay, this is kind of things that they don't tell maybe recruits at the beginning or not, but the goal is to bring about a universal league of mankind and form mankind into a great redemptive brotherhood. Establish a one-world universal religion free from Christianity, formal Christianity. Members can believe in a God, right? I mentioned that earlier. To seek the Masonic God as the one true God, lowercase g, over all. So they are searching for a God. Now, it gets crazier, okay? And this is all true. I'm not hyping this up. This isn't just weird things that people are just making up because they're mad at it or whatever. This is kind of true. All right. When you get to the 13th degree in the York Rite, I might have some of these York or Scottish rites mixed up. The first code word they give you is Abaddon. Abaddon comes from Revelation 9, verse 11, and he is the keeper of hell. So you have to confess that name as your code word, but they don't give that out to you now. I don't know. I'm kind of now with the internet, now with social media, how they keep any secrets anymore. That's out. Okay, so they're confessing Satan. As you move up, you get a new code word. It's Jabulan. It's 3 words together. Jah, like Jehovah, God. Bul, B-U-L, is Baal. Okay, the false god of Baal from the Old Testament. In On, I kind of forgot what that meant. That is Osiris. It's a Babylon term for a deity, a god. So they put all 3 words together, and they did it for 3 to mimic the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And it's just complete mockery of the Trinity. And then you pledge your allegiance to Jabulan. So that's where the satanic thing comes in. We could go on and on. I don't think it matters, but there are deep, deep Muslim roots in Freemasonry. Okay, deep roots in this. It goes on and up. Need I say more? I mean, this is a serious thing. Let's see. Any other questions? Here's some of the secret handshakes. Sorry, I am technically challenged. Grip of a, right? Grip of a fellow craft. So it's not really a secret anymore. Watch how you shake people's hand if you're all funky when you shake somebody's hand. You'd be like, hey, you too? No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That's it. Anybody questions, thoughts, concerns? Does this help you understand? Yes.
Well, I was just thinking how crazy, I just watched a video that Mormon used, and they wear that apron, and they do these handshakes.
Yes.
And obviously in my sorority, we did a lot of these handshakes as well. And so it's crazy how everything's just off of, what probably started, I guess, from this.
Correct.
All these secret societies. And I think in the video that I was watching also, this girl had been born, her parents were born and raised in the Mormon church, so was she. She didn't even know any of this until she turned 20, and she went in to do this ritual. She had no idea they were going to dress her like that, they were going to give her holy underwear, that they were going to give her a new name, that they were going to give her a handshake. They had no idea until she was 20 years old. Okay. And same with, I think, with all of these, Scientology, all of this, until you get higher up.
So remember, when we go through these false religions, everything is presented out up front. Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't hold anything back. They'll tell you that only 144,000 are sealed. They'll tell you all their doctrine up front. It's all public. Everything is out in the open. Mormons, no. Absolutely not. Masons, no, absolutely not. So it's kind of you groom, you indoctrinate, and you pull them in, which is definitely a strategy. One of the thoughts that comes to my light is that when they say we're coming to the light, Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. You got to be, very, very careful with these things. So, if anything this morning, this should bring awareness and educate you and to know a little bit more about Freemasonry as a religion. So, anybody else have any questions? No? Did this depress you, or are you guys okay this morning? We're going to have a long, Khalif, yes.
It's just amazing how many avenues of deception are out there.
Correct, yeah.
Like Satan is everywhere trying to hide the truth from you, just to...
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so much.
Right, so much.
It never ends.
Yeah, that thought actually did come to my mind. Like, we're coming to church to stay focused, refocus, God's Word, the Bible, right? And with all these distractions, and as my wife was talking about this, how much information is out there that people can be consumed with. They're not even coming to church. They're on Instagram. They're being fed. They are actually being fed what to believe. And it can be intriguing. What if you were in a weak moment or whatever, and you just needed, some help? I'll pledge my help, or pledge my life to get some help. People are vulnerable, and Satan kind of exploits this in so many areas. And this is why we got to stay very, very on top of it. We got to be very, very astute. We got to be very educated, so that we know. Peter?
Does it have any connection with the Skull and Bones Society?
No, I don't know anything about the Skull and Bones. Okay. Now, somebody mentioned Blue Star, or what is it? What it's called? Eastern Star. I think that's the female version. Yeah, female version of the Masons. I do not know about Skull and Bones. Obviously, I'm sure there's millions of different secret societies that play off this. The Mormons kind of hitched onto it and different things. So.
Yeah, a lot of the presidents of the United States, I think.
Okay, good. Okay, so. Great. Thanks for reminding me. We're going to end on this. Okay. If somebody told you that the presidents and the founding fathers were Masons, okay, they are just repeating something that has been told them. There's no evidence. So you'd have to ask, well, okay, where? Let's use the number one person they use for saying that they're Freemason. That would be George Washington, right? Okay, George Washington was a Mason, but he is quoted to say he has not been in a Mason lodge in 30 years or something, he said. He had Masons give him some gifts or different things, and so they say, oh, you're a Mason. He doesn't practice it. He never even practiced it at all, okay? Of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, they say that maybe 20% had an affiliation with the Masons, but out of that 20% that were Masons, okay, many of them, remember, they were part of the society in the 17 and 1800s from family when it was noblemen building cathedrals and, God was it. It had morphed over time to what we see it today. So to say that they were Masons like we see today with this is very inaccurate. And that is just a conditioning to let people know that they can fight against the United States that they're anti-God, okay? If you are interested, if you're intrigued in this, I have 2 copies of this, Freemasonry and the Founding Fathers. It gives a kind of a history in the beginning, but it talks about each president and or founding father, and it debunks that they were involved in Freemasonry. That's if you want to know, if you're, this can be a reference for you in the future. If you run into it, you know that this reference is available. This is from Wall Builders. Wall Builders, they do their homework. They testify in the Supreme Court for religious liberties. Tim Barton and his dad, Dave Barton, have written historical books debunking so much of what's been the narrative given to kids in school today. Very, very good resource. Wall Builders is very good to be educated. This is here if you want it. You may never run across it again, but this is here for you. That our founding fathers were not Freemasons in the sense that we know today. Many weren't even at all. John Adams wasn't even at all. John Quincy Adams, not at all, 0. And people say, oh yeah, they were. They were not. They may have had some affiliation, from the Reformation time. Khalif?
Well, I was going to say, I met Tim Barton once.
You did meet him?
I took a picture with him on my phone.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, good guy, real down-to-earth people, very, very good people. They have great resources, wallbuilders.com if you ever want to check that out. But I have 2 of these copies. Anybody can have them. We're going to take a long break this morning, have coffee. We'll start church right at 10:30. God bless you.